Hey YouTube, just a quick final video on the Surfskate truck setup that I'm using. This is my final design, I'm pretty sure. I've shown a few different designs. Had springs at the back on the original design. Now I've got them at the front, and I've got a mounting plate that's set up underneath the main front truck. I'll just give you a front-on look at that so you get a better idea of what we're looking at. Alright, so just right from get-go, what I've got here at the front is Avenue suspension truck, and I've modified it into a Surfskate truck. To modify it, I essentially reversed it so it's facing with the kingpin forward instead of backwards, and I've made it into a swivel design instead of your usual pivot design truck. So swivel basically means it turns from side to side like a steering mechanism. Now, to give it the spring back to center and to increase its tension as it turns, I've installed a couple of springs here. These are brake springs. They're 70 millimeters long and 2.1 millimeter thickness springs. They've got a longer shank at the axle end than at the mounting plate end. Both hooks face the same way, so if I take it a bit side on, you might get a view of that. So the hooks basically loop down like that, both at the hanger there, or the axle, and in the mounting plate. Now the mounting plate here, that's just a couple of saw blades. There's two saw blades there. They're mounted in between the base and the wedge packer that I have in the front there. And then at the rear here, I've cut a couple of stainless steel spacer washers just to level it out and keep it all even without putting any twist or load on the frame of the base itself. Alright, so that's it in a nutshell basically. That's the Surfskate design from the Avenue truck. This by far has been the most successful setup as far as springs, locations, mounting mechanism. I had to go against my, I've got a Smooth Star and I've also got a Surfskate. I had to go on the Smooth Star again yesterday, set that up, had to go on that. Had to go on the Surfskate again yesterday, and this by far leaves them both for dead. It's more rigid than the Surfskate, so it's more definite in its return to center. It's more definite in its increasing tension through the turn like you would get on a surfboard when you're digging the rail in. It's more definite in its ability to spring back to center. It's a nice, crisp, clean spring back to center. So as far as versus the Surfskate, it's much more solid, much more rigid feeling, and much more responsive feeling. It's not as floppy feeling, and feels like you're in control of telling the truck where to go rather than the truck telling you what it wants to do. As far as its Smooth Star, it's hard to explain, but it'd be if I put it in racing car terms or something like that, it'd be the difference between driving a Ferrari and a Mini. It just light and day difference, light and day, night and day, I should say. Sorry, night and day difference. It's just so much more crisp, clean, responsive feeling, and just seems to return energy a lot better than what the Smooth Star does. The Smooth Star is a good truck, don't get me wrong. If you want to go with the Smooth Star, go for it, but it's got a lot more mass and a lot more weight in it than just this simple truck system here. And that mass and that weight takes energy to move around. So I found with the Smooth Star that you have to put a lot more dig into it to get it to move around. This one wants to propel. It wants to just go. It takes very little effort to get it moving. It does nice, long, drawn-out carves as well as snappy little maneuvers. Not much else I can tell you apart from that. It's proven to be very good. It's as far as long distance pumping goes, it probably isn't the best truck for long distance pumping, depending on what you set it up to do. I've got this set up as an all-rounder, so I use it as a bit of a long distance pumper. I use a paddle pole or a dry land paddle, whatever you want to call it. I also kick push on it. I also ride transitions at skate parks, boxes, copings, bowls. So I do a fair bit. It's a bit of an all-rounder for me, and it does all these things very, very well. It doesn't. It probably doesn't excel in any one area, but it generally performs very well in all those areas. If you had a dedicated bowl board, it'd probably go better than this. If you had a dedicated long distance pumping board, it'd probably go better than this. If you had a dedicated drop deck cruiser, it'd probably go better than this. But then you've got lots of different boards for lots of different purposes. And this one, I wanted to come up with something that would do all things very well, rather than just excel in any one area. So I'm loving it. I'm able to take it, down for a run to the shops. I can do a bit of downhill bombing on it, a bit of downhill carving on it. Very stable. Never had death wobbles on it. Probably been up to around about 45, 50 kilometers an hour. Not as fast as most guys get on downhill boards and stuff like that, but it's still pretty stable for me. I had the dog out for a walk, and she just hoots along and pulls me at a rapid pace. So I don't know how fast the dog runs, but damn, she goes fast, and it feels like I'm going to really come a cropper sometimes. But yeah, this thing's stable. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Oh, one last thing: wheels. Running 70 by 35 30mm contact. Minimum wheels you want to run, probably on a decent pumping or surf skate design, minimum hardness of around about 81A. You start going softer than that, and you do get grip, better grip, but you also start to lose a lot of energy through the compound as it displaces and squishes and absorbs the effort that you're putting into it. So yeah, try to go for an 81A minimum hardness compound wheel, and get out there and experiment, see what you can come up with. Thanks guys, catch you around.